First, I'd like to welcome California Department of Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara and Deputy Commissioner for Consumer Services and Market Conduct, Tony Signorelli. Did I say that right? Signorelli.
Signorelli.
And from the City of Los Angeles Economic and Workforce Development Department, I would like to welcome Samuel Hughes, Assistant General Manager for Economic Development. And from the Los Angeles County Workforce Development, Aging and Community Services, I would also like to welcome Richard Cesar, Public Policy and Planning Manager. And now I hand it over to Commissioner Lara. Thank you for being here, Ricardo.
Thank you, Representative Gomez. Thank you again for your constant leadership during these difficult times. I'm proud not only to be your friend, but now your constituent.
I love it.
In the heart of downtown Los Angeles. So, you know, I lived and experienced firsthand the beauty of the manifestations and everything that was so amazing in terms of our communities coming together to proudly say Black Lives Matter was amazing. And, you know, for us, this is responding to the COVID-19 pandemic and to the epidemic of police brutality against our Black community is something that we're proud to do. That is, a public health crisis too, and it has been ongoing for generations. If you see who is being impacted the most by COVID-19 are communities of color, and in particular our brown and Black communities. So all of us are heartbroken about the senseless death of George Floyd and so many others. And we are mourning and grieving together as a country and as a state. Our whole community is really raising up our voice to say that, you know, our Black community deserve better. And because our faiths are linked. And we know that in California, the most diverse state in the union, until we have justice for our Black brothers and sisters, we will not have justice for our Latino and Asian immigrants or for our LGBTQ community. You know, my immediate focus following the protest of the past few weeks is really making sure the insurance industry is prepared to handle the claims to help our businesses recover as quickly as possible, especially those who have losses from looting or vandalism. Our community outreach team and consumer services team have already begun reaching out to the affected communities, lending our support, and have prepared a helpful fact sheet about insurance resources available following civil unrest that is on our website at insurance.ca.gov, so that businesses know what their rights are and what questions they should be asking. You know, as you can imagine, our community, our business owners have been hit twice by COVID-19 and now by these unspeakable acts of vandalism. Even as we see the signs that our economy is starting to rebound, so many of us are still hurting. And the Department of Insurance has taken a number of steps to help small businesses. I've ordered the insurance companies to return a portion of the premiums to businesses and drivers affected by COVID-19. And that's for March, April, and May due to the stay-at-home orders and reduced accidents and business payrolls that businesses are experiencing. My order covers at least 6 lines of insurance where the risk of loss, I should say, have fallen as a result of the pandemic. I'm proud to say that California's insurance commissioner was the only one that included the refunds and rebates to our business community. With many businesses closed to COVID-19, our businesses need relief from premiums that no longer reflect the current and present day risk of loss. So by requiring insurance companies to return premiums, it puts some money back in the pockets or reduces your future costs when you need it the most as you continue to rebuild. Business owners do not have to do anything to receive the refund. The insurance companies must provide this relief as soon as possible. You can also contact your insurance company to provide your actual or estimated change in payroll or business receipts and possibly qualify even for a larger discount. So we encourage business owners to contact their insurance companies, and we can help you do that as well. And this really builds upon an action I took last month to request insurance companies to give businesses a 60-day grace period so that they could pay the premiums by July 14th. Many insurance companies have honored that request, and by offering flexibility to consumers and businesses during the COVID emergency, and now after looting as well, give them some time so that they can actually, pay for their premiums without losing their coverage is critical if we want them to be part of our economy. And so what we've been stressing to the insurance companies are, look, help this business owner now, or else you're going to lose them as a consumer, as a customer for the future. So give them some reprieve to allow them the time to be able to pay those premiums, which are critical. And we encourage folks and business owners to contact our department at 1-800-927-4357. That's 1-800-927-4357. Or visit our website. You could send us an email through our website at insurance.ca.gov. I also want to just briefly mention about business interruption and business interruption complaints that have been very, they've been a mountain as we continue to address these issues. Many businesses have looked to their business policies for possible coverage. Each policy is a legal contract between the business owner and the insurance company. And since early March, we have seen a number of lawsuits from around the country, including here in California, which concern the interpretation of these policies and whether such policies cover losses due to COVID-19. I can tell you that we are monitoring these cases as they move through the courts, but we've also taken some other significant steps to address business interruption. We have been learning that some insurance companies are just flat out denying even business claims without a thorough investigation, or even discouraging business owners from even filing a claim, and that's simply unacceptable. In response to numerous complaints, we are requiring insurance companies to comply with their contracts and California law by fairly investigating every single business interruption claim caused by COVID-19, just as they would any other disaster, such as a fire, earthquake, or a flood. My department will be watching to make sure that the insurance companies are following through and getting a fair assessment of their claims. I also want to urge our businesses to be on the lookout for fraud and insurance scams and report any suspicious activity to the Department of Insurance. Unfortunately, during this time, we see fraudsters always trying to take advantage of people during vulnerable situations. We have 300 sworn investigators and enforcement personnel throughout our 9 regional offices in California, including our LA office in the City of Commerce that serves downtown and northeast LA. I would just say to be on alert for offering bogus worker compensation policies, verify the legitimacy of the selling agent. You can verify the agent's license on our website, and also be on alert for fraudulent workers' compensation claims by employees that may have result in layoffs of COVID-19 related illnesses. Again, I'll encourage you to call our office if you suspect any insurance scams. And this is also not just around COVID, but your life insurance, health insurance, business insurance matters. If you feel you've been a victim of fraud, please give us a call. The majority of our staff are abiding by Governor Newsom's stay-at-home order, and we continue to provide essential services to California consumers, and we will be available via phone. Again, that number is 1-800-927-4357, or through our website at insurance.ca.gov. We understand insurance is complicated. We can help guide you through the process. We have insurance experts ready to help you answer your questions. Our insurance experts speak multiple languages, so we accommodate not only all our business owners in the 34th Congressional District, but throughout the state. And you can talk to an actual person. This is not a recording, and I know so many people get anxiety when I give out a 1-800 number, but that is an actual number where you will get to speak to somebody as well. And so thank you again for your time, and look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Next, we have Samuel Hughes. He's the Assistant General Manager for Economic Development, City of Los Angeles Economic and Workforce Development. Samuel. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Congressman.
Yes.
Certainly appreciate the work that you're doing, the courageous leadership that you're taking along with your colleagues there in Washington. And I salute the insurance commissioner as well. The Department of Economic and Workforce Development within the city of Los Angeles is primarily focused on workforce and economic development, or more specifically, people and businesses. The city's workforce development system administers numerous workforce and job readiness programs specifically tasked with delivering workforce services to respond to labor market conditions by offering employment and job training through its 9 youth source centers, as well as 16 adult work source centers. The Economic Development Division, which I serve as the Assistant General Manager of, supports the growth of LA's economy through business services, financing options, economic planning, and property development. And the division works closely with real estate developers, business owners, entrepreneurs, and certainly other stakeholders to retain and create jobs and generate sustainable economic opportunities and advance economic equity in the city. And I don't think there can ever be a time other than now that there needs to be equity with respect to economic development and restarting and reboosting the LA economy. The current pandemic brings about new challenges to deliver the services to those in need of employment and businesses in need of capital and technical assistance. So the department has prepared and released information detailing where employees and business owners can go for help. And so I encourage those listening to visit the department's website for detailed information on available resources, and they can visit the website at ewddlacity.com, ewddlacity.com. There you will find information on our youth and adult work source centers, our rapid response program, certainly economic development programs, more specifically our business source centers. And the business source centers, we have 9 business source centers stretched throughout Los Angeles. They extend from San Pedro in the south to the San Fernando Valley in the north. And the business source centers provide loans. They also assist with packaging loans and technical assistance for businesses. Certainly the congressman mentioned the PPP as well as EIDL, and there are other loans out there. Oftentimes businesses, they need assistance trying to prepare their package in order to submit. And so our business source centers provide that assistance free of charge to businesses located in specific geographic areas. And I want to alert folks that are listening in to make themselves aware of that resource. And again, you can find a list of each of the 9 business source centers on our website. In addition to our business source centers, the city has partnered with LAEDC, the Bishop Exchange, and certainly the LA Chamber to provide additional technical assistance, because our business source centers, certainly we know that they're not the one-all, end-all, and so it's necessary to have community partners, stakeholders in the space of economic development to help bring about some assistance to businesses that not only need capital, but they also need technical assistance in order to enable their business to grow, prosper, and become resilient. More specifically, a few months ago, the council and the mayor approved an emergency loan program for business owners, whereby they can receive loans up to $20,000 at very favorable terms that range from 0 to 3%. In fact, they have the option for 12-month deferment. And so that is available. We have made a number of loans. We have well over 22,000 applicants that are sort of stuck in the queue. We've got well over 4,000 applicants that have submitted, and we're readily approving, processing, and funding, getting money on the streets to those businesses that are eligible, qualified, and ready to open their doors, reopen their doors, and in some instances, just pay for things that cover expenses that they've already incurred in times past. So on the website, you'll also find links to other federal, state, and county programs. I know someone from the county will speak in a moment, but the county is a partner. Certainly the city being the largest in the county of Los Angeles, the county is doing great work, stand-up work, and we're working hand in glove with them on a variety of programs. Some have yet to be announced, but certainly the city of Los Angeles stands tall with its businesses, stands tall with those employees that are impacted through furlough or layoffs. And for those that are listening, I strongly encourage you to go to our website where you can find resources that are there to assist you. And we also have the business source centers, as I mentioned earlier, that can help sort of navigate that system for you so you don't get lost in the shuffle. There are a lot of calls that are coming in. There are a lot of emails that are coming in as well. And we're doing our best to assist you all. And so we ask that the community at large remain diligent and persevere. Los Angeles and the county and the state of California, we're survivors, and we'll survive this, and we'll come back strong. Thank you, and that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Samuel. Next, we have Richard Cesar. He's a public policy and planning manager with the Los Angeles County Workforce Development, Aging, and Community Services. Richard, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Congressman. It's a pleasure. I'd just like to echo the sentiments of my colleagues, and thank you for your leadership. Thank you also, Commissioner Lara, for your leadership, and Assistant General Manager Hughes. A pleasure to be on this panel with you. As you mentioned, the city and the county have a very strong partnership. Here at Los Angeles County Workforce Development, Aging, and Economic and Community Services, known in the community as WDACS, we really focus on serving both the workers and businesses in our community, and developing programs and delivering services that promote a pathway towards economic self-sufficiency for those that are most in need and most vulnerable, with the greatest barriers to employment and success. And so we operate within the county a network of actually about 20 America's Job Centers located across the county. And then on behalf of our Board of Supervisors for Los Angeles County, we really represent all of the 88 cities within the county, putting forth strategies, programs, and services to serve the almost 500,000 businesses within the county and 2 million residents within this county. And so as of the last several months, we've all been greatly impacted, as we all know, by COVID-19. And our department has really strived to continue delivering services, but then elevating our service delivery to meet kind of the extreme demands and needs of our workers and businesses. And so I wanted to highlight just a few of our services for the people on this call that have been extremely helpful, especially during these times, and then point you to some resources so that you can continue to receive assistance. So first up on the screen, you'll see our rapid response services, and really this is targeted to businesses that are close to laying off their workers, or in some instances have already laid off their workers. I mentioned that we have about 20 America's Job Centers across the county. And at those services, we have business service representatives that are here to assist you, providing technical assistance, and also connecting you to the various resources that we have throughout the county. So, if you were to be facing laying off your employees or even closing, those business service representatives can help you, sit down with you, assess your needs, and provide you with different plans and services to help with those layoffs. And then in cases where you need to actually do those layoffs, we have services that can connect maybe your employees that have been laid off to other work opportunities. We have training or upskilling training to your existing employees, connecting them to various training resources across the county, and helping them kind of retain their skills or upskill. And so that's a very, kind of important service during this time, as we've seen a lot of businesses impacted, facing and close to facing layoffs. I mean, I think we're really proud that we've been able to prevent a series of layoffs through this service. So that's an important service I wanted to highlight. And then next slide. And then you'll see on the screen, we have layoff aversion services. So this is a strong partnership that we enjoy with our Los Angeles County Economic Development Corporation. They have an amazing staff of trained professionals that we work in conjunction with to provide businesses in need with free technical assistance to kind of analyze their business plans, assess any challenges or hardship that the business is going to help apply to the various loan products that the Congressman mentioned, either coming from the federal government or on the local or city level, and then just ensure that the business has that assistance to strategically overcome some of the obstacles, or whichever obstacles those may be that they're currently facing. So you see the contact information below. It is our layoff aversion program in partnership with LAYOFF. We strongly encourage all businesses to take advantage of this, of course. And again, it's at no cost. So it's really something that we're proud of and hope that we'll take advantage of. Next slide. And then something that has been really important over the last several months, in partnership with our Department of Consumer and Business Affairs, as well as our department and DPSS, we've launched our Disaster Help Center, which contains a variety of resources for workers and businesses. It contains frequently asked questions, guides, information on unemployment insurance, information on kind of the county's safer at home orders, and guidance for businesses on how to kind of reopen, which is very timely as the county kind of has lifted its safer at home orders and is wanting to provide guidance to business on how to kind of reopen safely and comply with all of the COVID-related measures that are in place. And so we encourage anyone everyone here on this call, please feel free to call this number on the screen or visit our website to kind of review some of the resources listed there. We have individuals from our county departments working on the hotline, answering calls on a daily basis, including on Saturdays. And so really with any questions, any type of assistance you need, you can call this number and there'll be staff there to assist you and point you in the right direction with all the services that are offered across the county. Next slide. And then here on this slide, I just really wanted to kind of highlight some of the work that we're doing here at WDACS to give you a flavor and to hopefully encourage you to kind of connect with us and really join. Over the last several months, we've been hosting almost weekly town halls similar to this one to kind of provide information and disseminate the latest and most up-to-date information on many different loan products, and then just information that's helpful to the business community, such as we've partnered with different legal organizations across the county to provide kind of legal-oriented information to the business community, and then obviously right now we're heavily focused on helping businesses reopen and remain compliant with the COVID measures. So I'm sure we'll share some information, and please feel free to join our town halls. And then I wanted to share that over the last several months we've had to kind of adjust, as we all have, and deliver a lot of our services virtually. And so know that the services that you're reading about are still intact. Our business service representatives can have phone calls with you or face-to-face virtual meetings to provide technical assistance. And then for those who happen to still be looking for qualified employees and workers for your business, know that we have worked with several companies that are actually still hiring during this time. And we've been able to have virtual recruitments with companies such as Northrop Grumman in the Antelope Valley. We've actually placed and assisted in place over 200 individuals at their company. And then we're working with Proterra. They're an electric bus manufacturer in our region, and we've helped them kind of hire and recruit individuals to sustain their operations during this time. So that's something that we're really proud of, and if that's something that you need, we can also deliver. And then I wanted to highlight a few of our initiatives that are underway right now. We have a Great Plates delivery program where we are actually providing in-home delivery meals to seniors. With kind of that program, there's two goals really: to provide meals to seniors that are in need during this time, but also to help revitalize our restaurant and hospitality industry that's been heavily impacted by providing work opportunities for those restaurants. And then wanted to also highlight our employer assistance grant fund that we released in the county to kind of give you a sense of some of the grant opportunities that we have. And I want to let you know that we're always consistently pursuing funding at the local level across the county. We're getting into the release of COVID relief fund to our partners at DCBA. And so please be on the lookout for that. And then we, have programs to assist workers as well. So wanted to definitely highlight that for you. Next slide. And so there's our contact information here on the screen. Again, we encourage you to call us at any time for assistance. The number here is to our disaster helpline, where I mentioned we had staff waiting and ready to assist. And feel free to email us at bizdev@WDACS.lacounty.gov, where we are consistently monitoring that and can really answer any questions that you have or point you to any resources that is offered kind of across the county. And so thank you so much again for this opportunity to kind of be on this panel and speak to you all. Just know that we're kind of working closely with all of our partners across the region, and we really want to support our businesses here in the county with all of their recovery needs. As we know, a lot have been impacted by COVID and by the recent, looting and protests. And so know that we really care and we want to promote equity across the county and support businesses, specifically in disadvantaged communities. And so thank you so much again.
Thank you so much for that presentation. So now we're going to move on to the question and answer section of the this webinar. We already had some questions that were pre-submitted. So if people want to ask a question on the chat function, you can ask a question and we'll see it and then we'll be able to ask that question. So the first question is for the Department of Insurance. It said, I paid my insurance and understood it included business interruption coverage. Why isn't it loss of business due to COVID-19 pandemic covered? Unmute yourself, Ricardo.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, go for it.
Okay. Well, the first thing people need to know is that not all policies are the same. We would need to look at the specific policy to better understand what coverages or exclusions you have. And that varies from business to business. So if you have business interruption coverage, but your insurance company is telling you that these losses are not covered due to exclusions in your policy, we really recommend that you file a formal claim with your insurance company and then start by creating that paper trail. Insurance companies are legally required, as I said, and to fairly investigate your claim and formally respond back to you and the coverage decision and any reasons for any denials, for example. Tony Signorelli, who's my Deputy Commissioner for Consumer Services, has been really working in his department one-on-one with businesses on this question that obviously after COVID or during COVID, as we're still in, many businesses have these questions. Tony, do you mind chiming in and maybe anything that I've missed?
Certainly, Commissioner. As you mentioned earlier, several of these insurance policy provisions are in litigation now across the nation and in California, and we are monitoring those to kind of see where that's going to land, where the courts are going to land on the interpretation of some of the challenges that the businesses are going to face. The first one is obviously a virus exclusion in many of these policies. And so the second one is the requirement that there be physical damage to the insured property due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So those are two of the major hurdles, and there are some other policy provisions. But the key is to make sure, as Commissioner Lara said, file your claim. Don't rely on a verbal response from your agent or your insurance company that's telling you that you don't have coverage. still file a formal claim, get a formal response, so that if you do get your claim denied, that you can come to us and we'll already be further along in the process to be able to get with the insurance company, make sure they comply with the law, and make sure that they're paying you or giving you everything that their policy says that you're owed under your policy. So contact us. Commissioner gave out the number earlier, but it's 800-927-4357 or on our website, insurance.ca.gov. We'll assign it to one of our experts. We'll go through your policy with you. We'll get with the insurance company. We'll make sure that if you do have that coverage, that your insurance company is going to step up and take care of it. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a few questions coming through. Somebody was asking specifically about vandalism and looting. It says, so let me summarize it. It says, with the current unrest throughout neighboring communities, businesses want to know if damage to their business property and inventory by riots and looting is covered by insurance. And I guess also in connection to that, if so, what is the process for filing an insurance claim for vandalism and looting?
Okay, so your standard policies typically include coverage for physical loss or damage due to insured property resulting from looting, vandalism, or riots. Whether the specific loss will be covered depends on the actual language in your policy and any coverage exclusions that apply. That's why I keep reiterating, and Tony's also, it's so important for you to know exactly what is the language in your policy. And we can help decipher that insurance speak for you, and you give us a call. And that's why it's important for us to always know exactly what your coverage is. So it's important to check your specific policy for the following coverages. Look for vandalism and malicious mischief, rioting, commotion, business income coverage. That covers your loss of income when you have suspended operations, and typically it is triggered by a direct physical loss from a covered peril or your property, such as a fire, for example. Civil authority coverage, which is business income coverage that typically include civil authority coverage, which protects you from loss of income if a civil authority prohibits access to your business, such as a local government order. Businesses that have this coverage are forced to limit their hours, for example, or suspended operations during rioting, vandalism, or civil commotion may be covered after an initial waiting period. So also glass coverage is important. Many commercial policies cover glass breakage, but we have seen some companies requiring separate glass coverage that is added to the policy as well. So just other two quick things I wanted to mention, auto coverage. Many people don't know, but damage to a personal vehicle because of riot or civil commotion is covered under your comprehensive portion of your policy, and that goes for all the vehicles. And also homeowners and renters coverage. A standard homeowners and renters coverage policy covers all perils. I mentioned riot, civil commotion, vandalism. If you have the FAIR plan, which is our insurer of last resort in California, these coverages are optional. So all this information also can be found in our department's fact sheet, which will make it available to your office representative. Or you can also find it at our insurance.ca.gov. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And there is a lot of questions regarding, just because we see it on the news, right? Regarding good example that some people are saying, oh, it's an act of God. Right? I'm not sure how that's an act of God, but
right.
That they're not covered. So people should really look at the fine print and then call your office if they have questions.
Exactly. Tony, is it safe to say that vandalism and rioting is not an act of God?
Yeah, absolutely, Commissioner. Under most policies, it's covered. And if any agent or broker or insurance company is telling a business owner that, they should immediately contact us so that we can resolve that.
Okay. We'll do. Yeah. Somebody along these lines, it says, can insurance companies claim it's the owner's responsibility to fix damages caused by other citizens during the protest?
Tony, do you want to take a crack at that?
Well, yeah, Commissioner, we would need to know more information, but it sounds like it's the same thing.
Yeah, correct.
If a member of the public damages your property and you have business coverage, most business coverage policies cover civil commotion, riot, vandalism, that sort of thing. So it should be covered under your policy. So it's important to look at your policy, and if you're not really sure about it, contact us and we'll take a look at it for you.
Okay. Good question. And then this question, which talks about costs. It says insurance is our single biggest expense while closed. We attempted to pause or reduce it as per Commissioner Lara's announcement some time ago. However, our insurance company tells us that since technically we are not paying our premium, but rather than financing for the premium, through their financing company, we cannot pause. Is there any way around this rather onerous situation in which we are paying insurance to cover 2,000 patrons a week while we are closed?
Right. Again, so we've asked that formal notice so that people can get that grace period extended.
Yeah.
Again, for this individual question, give us a call. We can help you. We can walk you through what your options are because, again, as we said, each policy is very different.
Yeah.
The coverage is very different. So if that individual wants to call us, again, it's 1-800-927-4357, and we'll make sure we get on it, and we'll, possibly open a case for you and walk you through what your options are and what the process is. Again, we're there, we're here, and these are the perfect questions that our insurance experts can answer for you. And, it's hard to give kind of blanket statements for individual experiences because the policies are so different. So that's why calling our department is critical.
No, thank you. And we have their information, so we'll make sure that we put them in touch with your office.
Perfect.
There is a question that came in. It says, another question that came in, I'm very concerned as how to protect myself and my clients from COVID-19 because I work very close to my client's face and involves bleeding. I think it's a tattoo artist. Should I wait for the vaccine before resuming work if my work is considered high risk? So that could be an insurance question, right?
Yeah, I would say, and that's given situation, I would ask that individual to call their insurance company, let them know what kind of business they are so that they can also have them walk through what their policy is. Some of these insurance companies are actually providing some sort of procedures that should be taken to minimize the risk, right?
Yeah.
So I would encourage that person to first call their insurance company, let them know if they have any procedures in terms of for tattoo shops, tattoo artists, and put that against what their policy is so that they can understand what their coverage and liability is. And then if they're not happy with that answer, give us a call and we could further do some digging and some information gathering with that insurance company. But this is why it's critical for you to contact your insurance company, let them know, and in terms of liability, your liability insurance coverage, what does that look like, and make sure that you get those procedures if they have them. If not, we can help you with that as well. Tony, did I miss anything on that?
Commissioner, the only thing I would add is you said everything. I would just add the other piece to this is making sure that that the business is in tune with the guidance for each individual that either the state or the county puts out.
Oh, right.
And make sure you're in compliance with that as well as going to the insurance company. And between those two pieces, there should be, things should go in the right direction as long as they're complying with the government's guidance as well as the insurance company's information.
So that leads to an interesting question, right? Because there are some conflicting guidelines, right? The state says it's giving more flexibility to the counties, and the counties are taking different steps from different places. So if a county says, say LA County has certain, is allowing certain businesses to open, but if somebody opens sooner than that county's public health department allows them to open, are they putting themselves at risk when it comes to, you know, their insurance coverage covering a lawsuit that deals with somebody getting sick at their establishment, if they can connect it, actually prove it? Do you understand what I'm asking on that one?
Yeah. I mean, and so I would say it all depends on, because there's some low levels of government that have provided guidance in different types of businesses. So we gotta be able to do some research in terms of what's your business, what government entity has put up guidance around what your business is to help you provide that. And that's what, and then again, which I think is equally as essential, is connecting with your liability insurance, with your workers' comp insurance provider, because, you know, this also matters if one of your workers gets COVID, right? And so it's important to see if there's guidance and guidelines from your insurance carriers, as well as your specific industry. You know, this case, you know, we'll refer to the tattoo shop, and see if the county, your local county or your local city have provided these guidelines. Tony, did I miss anything on that question? I just want to make sure we get it. Actually,
the only thing I would add, Commissioner, is that there are provisions in insurance policies that say if you have a claim that's caused by you violating the law, it theoretically might not be covered. We don't believe that would be triggered in this situation, because it's kind of unclear as to whether a guidance is in fact a law that you violated. But that is a question. So the business really needs to do their homework, as the Commissioner said, and so that at least they go into this informed as they make their decisions.
Hey, Sam, Sam, and I know Richard, Cesar, I'm not sure if you're still on, but do you guys know what should businesses know about the city and county's plans to reopen?
With respect to the city, Congressman, I really have to defer to the mayor. Mayor Garcetti has been doing a pretty good job with his regular briefings and alerting the general public about the stages that we're going through. And I strongly stress that business owners and the general public continue to listen for those broadcasts and certainly read any specific bulletins regarding that. And respectfully, if I could, just go back to the earlier question, insurance is critical for businesses. Through our current emergency loan program, we require businesses to have both GL and workers' compensation insurance. And certainly there are businesses that are suffering and they don't have the money to pay the premium. Yeah. We, in fact, set aside dollars to make certain that that's in place, particularly for those that don't have it. So I certainly commend what the Commissioner is speaking about, and I'll let you know that the City of Los Angeles, particularly on its current emergency microloan program, we're standing tall to make certain that businesses can cover, you know, basic workers' comp and certainly their GL and any other working capital concerns that they have. But as someone else said earlier, it's important that businesses adhere to the toolkits that are out there. They're readily available. And the guidance within those toolkits with respect to close contact service, particularly with respect to the tattoo artists, I believe that was mentioned earlier. So there's guidance there by industry that really specifies how business owners should move forward in dealing with their patrons and certainly with their employees.
Yeah, okay. That reminds me, somebody just asked earlier, what were some of the grants and the assistance available to small impact businesses impacted by COVID? Do you have the microloan program? How do you apply for that?
Certainly. Prospective applicants can go to our website, ewddlacity.org, and there are links there for business owners to apply. Those are loans. Okay. This is all evolving. I suspect that within the coming weeks, we'll get word about other opportunities that are available for business owners. Yeah. And I certainly encourage businesses to apply either for the county's grants and or loans, and certainly the city's loans. It's also worth mentioning that the city has provided direct assistance in the way of grants to Angelenos that need assistance with their rent, need assistance with other housing expenses, utilities, and other things. And so the City of Los Angeles, certainly through its leadership, is standing up tall to assist Angelenos and certainly businesses as well. And we'll see what the next coming weeks and few months hold for us in terms of other programs that business owners can take advantage of.
No, thank you. And that's another thing is businesses are going to continue, right? People are going to, folks who wanted to start a small business all of a sudden find themselves got delayed, right? They had to not pull the trigger on getting their business up and running. And I've heard from situations of small businesses who have, like, were opening their doors. They bought the, they purchased not purchased, but rented the space, got all the equipment, got ready to go, and all of a sudden the pandemic hits, and then they weren't able to launch their business. So they were paying rent on something that they were never planning on paying rent and not getting the revenue. Richard, I see that you're back on. I just wanted to see if there's anything that's like, people were asking specifically about the county and city grants and assistance available. And somebody, this kind of goes hand in hand. What type of assistance or programs are in existence for people who are looking to open a new business in this type of environment? Unmute yourself, Richard. There you go.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I got kicked out of the system and was experiencing some technical difficulties. Sorry about that. I wanted to go back to the earlier question just about kind of complying with, fears of reopening and so I just wanted to encourage everyone to visit our Disaster Help Center website. We've kind of laid out all of the kind of guidance from our Department of Public Health. And so we've broken it down by industry in terms of different guidelines of how to safely reopen and comply and just best practices going forward. So I think that will really help a lot of businesses who are kind of not only, concerned about the liability from an insurance perspective of reopening, but then also just kind of wanting to just understand the best practices, the use of PPE, how to comply, how to install the proper distancing protocols within your company. And so that's very helpful. And then in terms of the grant programs, our partners at DCBA, our Department of Consumer and Business Affairs, in partnership with my department, and then also our partners at the Los Angeles County Development Authority, we're going to be releasing very soon a COVID relief fund, and that's going to provide grants and loans to businesses. Again, this information is going to be on our Disaster Help Center website. So that is something really exciting. It's going to provide a lot of funding. We've actually worked with private sector partners. There have been big banks and companies that have provided funding. So it's over $60 million worth of funding.
Oh, wow.
And then there's been a variety of different initiatives kind of that we've led at WDACS, which I mentioned, the Employer Assistance Grant Fund. We're still trying to get more funding for that. But then our partners at the Development Authority have launched some specific, district specific, and that's supervisorial district. So we have 5 within the county. They've launched some district specific COVID recovery efforts. But, I think we'll be sharing our contact information, and we encourage you to follow us on social media, and again, visit our Disaster Center website, because any and all loan programs, grant programs, recovery programs will be clearly displayed on those resources, and we're kind of actively trying to pursue those.
And the definition of small business is not as clear. People have there's businesses that are actually quite large, but are still considered small businesses. Is there any limit on the who can apply for this assistance, or how do you guys?
So different programs kind of characterize the numbers differently. For example, Employer Assistance Grant Fund, we really wanted to target businesses with between 2 and 50 employees, and then oftentimes the county and our board has just a big focus on businesses with less than 500 employees, characterized as small, because we really, we know that within our county, I think over 80% of the businesses are in fact small businesses. So they're kind of the backbone of our economy. And I mentioned we really have a lens on promoting equity and serving those with the most need. So oftentimes we focus on small businesses. I should mention that last Tuesday, the Board of Supervisors, they passed a motion, and which is kind of a directive to the county staff to kind of explore creating what we're calling a COVID compliant business partnership program. And so they essentially want us to explore providing funding to businesses with between 1 and 100 employees, so that they could offset the costs of complying with COVID. So any purchases of PPE, any money essentially spent to comply with COVID would be potentially being reimbursed. And we really wanted to also, there's a large emphasis on technical assistance through that program. So they directed us to kind of explore doing that. So know that that's in the works in the county. We're looking to kind of establish a program that helps businesses all across different industries comply with COVID and hopefully provide technical assistance to help recover during these times. So really, to answer your question again, like it all depends on the program, and we can, if you reach out to us, we can provide you with the specific guidelines for each.
And Congressman, and in addition to what Richard said, certainly at the city, it depends on the program, but we have our micro enterprises, which generally are 5 or fewer employees, including the owner, and our small business program, which generally speaking is 500 or fewer employees. However, with our current emergency microloan, we are focusing on fewer than 100 businesses, fewer than 100 employees. And again, as the COVID-19 matter continues to persist, we'll continue to evolve and ultimately get assistance to those in need. And as it relates to startup businesses, there have been a couple that have sort of come through our pipeline, and I can particularly recall one. It had just opened and it was hit. It was devastated. So the loan that they got from the city went a long way. And so we recognize that. I might also add, through our micro loan program that's essentially funded with CDBG dollars, we've assisted startups. And so we're open, we're ready for business, and that's been a program that's been in our portfolio for quite some time. So for those businesses that are startups, feel free to reach out to the City of Los Angeles, and if we have a program for you, we'll do our best to try to help you get access to those dollars.
No, thank you so much. And those are a lot of questions that people have. It's just, how do I get by during this period of time? How do I pay the rent? How do I cover my insurance? How do I get some relief back? There was a question, another question. We have time for like 2 more questions. Another insurance question. You issued a bulletin requiring the insurance company to refund premiums. Will that be from my total monthly payment, and when will I get it?
Yeah, that is going to be a portion of your premium for March, April, and May. And again, that's going to depend on the type of coverage you have, and whether we're allowing each insurance company to give us their process of how they plan on doing reimbursements.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be checking to see and make sure that consumers are not shortchanged. And again, this is because we are facing fewer accidents and injuries on the road. There's falling business payroll and receipts, and reductions in liability exposure due to temporary closures. So obviously the risk, like I said before, hasn't gone away completely. So this will not be 100% of a refund of your premium. In many cases, it could be a credit, a reduction of a refund, a reduction or a refund, and or a percentage of your percentage of your premiums. We saw the department will be watching to make sure, like I said, to make sure that whatever formula was being used, that our consumers are not being shortchanged, and we're actually getting what you deserve. And again, those are your commercial automobile insurance policy, your workers' compensation insurance policy, commercial multi-peril, commercial liability, and medical malpractice for so many of podiatrists, chiropractors, a lot of our healthcare specialists that have their own practice, I strongly encourage business owners who have not received a premium relief in spite of the reduction that, is covered under the policy, to contact their insurance company. Also remember that if you need additional time to pay your premium, we have the opportunity to request your companies to give you that grace period. And if you're still not getting anywhere, give us a call, 1-800-927-4357, and we can help you through this as well.
And that reminds me, at the beginning of the pandemic, I didn't drive my car that much anyways, but I went online and adjusted the number of miles I drive, and even adjusted some of the coverage. And it went it said you already paid this, but then reduced my rate for the next time I was supposed to pay.
Right. And that's separate than what they owe you from these previous months, depending on when you made the adjustment.
Okay, so that's a separate thing.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. This one is it's regarding business, but it says some have said that health insurance rates may go up by 40% in 2022. Can you speak on these claims?
Yeah, and we've been getting a lot of these questions. First, the grace period that I requested for policyholders to pay premiums also includes health insurance. So if we have if you're having difficulty, you should contact your insurance company. That estimate of 40% increase for individuals and businesses came from a study by Covered California, which looked at the cost of COVID-19 without allowing for any federal actions to help, right? So the bottom line is that COVID-19 is causing a lot of uncertainty in the health market. We don't know yet to what extent or what's going to happen, to the employers. So our actuaries for health insurers are currently developing their assumptions regarding the impact that on their 2021 rates, and will likely price their products to reflect that uncertainty. One thing that we do know is that we do not anticipate unexpected windfalls in terms of reduction claims over long term as a result of COVID-19. Yes, there has been a substantial decrease in necessary but elective procedures, such as heart surgeries and cancer, for example, various cancer surgeries during the pandemic, in part in response to the need to focus hospital resources on developing capacity for treatment of COVID-19 patients. As a consequence, hospitals are experiencing substantial decrease in revenue.
Yeah.
So many of these procedures may be deferred to a later time, so claims for the procedures may come in maybe a wave later. Then relative percentage of delays versus canceled procedures is still yet to be figured out. And also because of the delay in necessary but elective procedures, morbidity is expected to increase, unfortunately. So this is something that we have seen, especially in our undocumented and vulnerable communities, where putting off care leads to tragic results. So I do know that many people, I should say, have lost employer-based insurance with the loss of their jobs, and anyone in this situation should take another look at Covered California. There's special enrollment period now, and if you lost your job, there may be also assistance available for you to pay for health insurance depending on your situation. So again, and also important to note, and for our undocumented community, although the federal law prevents undocumented people from obtaining subsidized coverage through Covered California, they can get unsubsidized coverage directly from insurance companies through insurance agents. The Department of Insurance has also an agent locator that lets you search by location, by language on our website at insurance.ca.gov. And as you know, in California, the work that I did when I was in the Senate to cover our undocumented children, now undocumented young Californians up to age 26 who meet the eligibility requirements can obtain coverage through Medi-Cal. So, these are all important things. Medi-Cal also provides limited scope that can cover emergency visits and pregnancy-related services. Local programs are also available for people who cannot afford their health insurance. So I would say visit covid19.ca.gov and find out how to access Medi-Cal. So unfortunately, that's the reality that we're living in. So
yeah. No, thank you. First, thank you for answering that question. And I just want to thank all the panelists. We've been going over a little over an hour now, but we need to provide more services to the small businesses that are out there. There's a lot of questions that not one single one of us can answer on our own. So I want people to know that they can look up your information. They can go to 800-927-4357, which is the insurance commissioner's number at insurance.ca.gov. We also have the Economic Workforce and Development Department at ewdblacity.com. Telephone number is 213-744-7300. And then we have the Workforce Development Aging and Community Services Department, which is WDACS.lacounty.gov. Telephone number is 1-833-238-4450. And my number is 213-481-1425. That's my LA office. If you call, you can call earlier than 9 a.m. because my DC office is open. But I just want to say that if you have questions, please reach out. There's a lot of services out there. There are different programs. You shouldn't be struggling alone. You shouldn't be wondering how you can get by in this difficult time. Please reach out. We have additional caseworkers that are helping small businesses specifically. Roberto Gama, who's with my office for a long time, is helping small businesses with their needs for PPP programs, so Paycheck Protection Program loans, as well as the economic injury disaster loans that the federal government's managing. So if you have those issues, reach out, because we're definitely helping small businesses deal with those applications. So thank you so much for everybody for participating, and I look forward to having the next webinar. Thank you.
yeah, so yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner.